All right, so today we're here with the original M2 Apple Vision Pro, as well as the brand new M5 Vision Pro. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do they stack up? And is the M5 really more than just a marginal improvement upon the original? Today we're going to find out, and we're going to run some tests using some high-quality scans from the Stanford Computer Graphics Lab to see just how many millions of polygons can these devices render. And if you really want to know whether this is more than just a marginal incremental update, you're going to want to stick around to the end, trust me. Let's get into it. Back in the 1990s, Stanford used the Cyberware scanner and Silicon Graphics workstations to digitize all sorts of sculptures. This is the same setup used by Industrial Light and Magic to digitize actors for special effects in movies like Terminator 2, The Abyss, and countless other films. Even by today's standards, these models have a ton of polygons. We'll start with the Dragon scan, which has 871,000 polygons, and the M2 Vision Pro handles this with ease, running right around 90 frames per second. We'll go next to the Happy Buddha statue. 1 million polygons, the slightest drop in frame rate, but generally the M2 is handling this scene fine. Moving up once more, we'll test a version of the Lucy model with 3 million polygons. And now we can really see the M2 beginning to strain, fighting to stay at about 45 frames per second. Now we'll move on to a second Dragon model, which contains 7 million polygons, and whoops, this one immediately crashes both the app and the device. So we've hit our limit on the M2 Vision Pro. Now let's switch over to the M5 and see how it compares. We'll move up to the Dragon model that crashed the M2, and we could see that while it's beginning to slow down, the M5 is able to handle this detailed mesh with 7 million polygons, around 60 frames per second. Now, we can move up to an entirely new model with 10 million polygons. And once again, we've crashed both the app and the device. But that's not where the story ends, because the M5 has capabilities that let us take things even further, and the one we're going to look at today is mesh shaders. In traditional real-time rendering, you have to load the entire mesh into memory all at once, but what mesh shaders allow us to do is create the geometry we need at render time entirely on the GPU, and I built an experiment that does just that. So now, not only are we able to view that mesh that previously crashed the device, we're getting pretty decent performance at around 90 frames per second. How is this possible? Let's flip on a visualization so you can see how this is working. Similar to Unreal Engine's Nanite, the model has been optimized into meshlets, clusters of adjacent triangles that share similar features. This makes it possible to ignore meshlets that are out of view or facing away from the user. But we could do even better and use our distance from the model to choose an appropriate level of detail. And now we've got a scene with nearly 17 million polygons rendering at 90 frames per second. When you combine this with things like foveated rendering, it becomes clear that the M5 isn't just a marginal update. It opens up entirely new types of experiences for Apple Vision Pro.